The trap wasn't meant for her. Jack moved quietly through the thick alien forest, the sharp leaves brushing against his arms. His boots pressed gently on the soft purple moss that covered the ground. It was early morning. The twin suns had just begun to rise, casting strange red light across the land. Jack's eyes scanned the trees carefully. He was checking his traps. This planet was wild, dangerous. Jack had crash-landed here 3 months ago. His ship was broken, his radio fried, and no help had come. He had survived by building a small shelter and hunting strange creatures for food. Every day he walked the same path, checking his handmade traps made from vines, bones, and leftover tech. But today, something felt different. He heard it first. A sharp, high-pitched cry tore through the quiet air. Not an animal sound, not the usual screech or growl. It was almost human. His heart beat faster. He ran toward the noise. When Jack reached the trap, he froze. Inside the pit, caught between branches and leaves, was a girl. Not a normal girl. An alien girl. Her skin was a soft blue, glowing faintly under the sunlight. Her silver hair was long, messy and tangled with sticks. She wore scraps of cloth that barely covered her small frame. Her eyes, big, golden, and terrified, stared up at Jack. She gasped and pushed herself into the corner of the trap, shaking violently. Jack raised both hands. "Whoa. Hey! I'm not going to hurt you." She didn't understand. Her body trembled, harder. She shouted something in a strange alien language, then she pointed at his mouth with wide, panicked eyes. "What?" Jack frowned. "You think I'm going to eat you?" The alien girl nodded quickly, her arms wrapped around herself. Her lips quivered. Jack sighed. "Oh no, no, no. You've got it all wrong." He carefully reached into his backpack and pulled out a protein bar, one of the last few he had. He opened it and took a bite. Then slowly, he held it out to her. She didn't move. "It's food," Jack said gently. "For you. Not you for food." After a long pause, she crawled closer and snatched it from his hand. She sniffed it, then took a small bite. Her eyes widened. She devoured the rest quickly. Jack watched her with concern. She looked starved, dirty, and completely alone. "I can help you," he whispered. She didn't reply. She just kept looking at him like he was a predator. Jack tied a rope around a tree and lowered it into the pit. "Come on, I'll pull you up." She stared at the rope like it was a snake, then back at him. Her breathing slowed. After a long moment, she reached for it. When she reached the surface, she collapsed to her knees, exhausted. Jack offered her a bottle of water. She took it and drank greedily. Then suddenly she backed away again, fast, as if realizing she had let her guard down. Jack didn't chase her. Instead, he sat down a few feet away and opened another protein bar for himself. They sat in silence, surrounded by the soft rustle of alien trees. "All right," Jack said finally. "You're not going to tell me your name, are you?" She blinked at him, still unsure. "Okay. I'll call you Zari. You look like a Zari." She tilted her head. Jack smiled softly. "I'll build you a place to rest. You're safe here." Zari didn't speak, but her shaking had stopped. She looked at him, not with trust, but maybe less fear. That night, Jack built a small shelter next to his. Zari sat near the fire, her eyes still watching every move he made. When he handed her a blanket, she stared at it, then slowly wrapped herself inside. Jack looked up at the stars above. This planet had almost killed him many times, but today something changed. He wasn't alone anymore. He looked at the blue-skinned girl beside the fire. "She's scared of me," he whispered to himself. "But maybe I can show her. Not all humans are monsters." He didn't know who she was, where she came from, or why she thought he would eat her, But Jack had made a promise, silent but strong. He would protect her, no matter what came next. Zari didn't sleep, even after Jack had built her a shelter beside his, even after he gave her warm food and a soft blanket. She stayed curled up in the corner, one eye always open, watching, listening, waiting. Jack, on the other hand, lay awake, staring at the stars above his tent. He could hear every breath she took, shaky and shallow, just a few meters away. In the quiet of the night, he whispered, "I don't know what happened to you, but I'm not your enemy." The next morning, Jack found Zari gone. Panic hit him like a punch. He rushed through the forest, calling softly, "Zari? Hey, it's okay. I won't hurt you." After nearly an hour, he spotted a flash of silver hair behind a glowing red tree. She was crouched low, holding a sharp rock like a weapon. When she saw him, she didn't run. But she didn't smile either. Her small voice cracked through the silence. One broken word. "Meat?" Jack blinked. "What?" She pointed at herself. "You want meat?" Jack took a step back, stunned. "No. You think I want to eat you?" Zari nodded. Her lips trembled again. That moment hit Jack harder than any alien beast ever had. She had run away not for freedom, but to hide from him, because in her mind, he was the real predator. Jack dropped to his knees, hands up. "No, I'm not here to hurt you. I'm not here to eat you. You're not food. You're someone. A person." Zari tilted her head, confused. He pulled out a small notebook and a pen from his bag. He wrote the word Zari and pointed to her. She nodded slowly. Then he wrote Jack and pointed to himself. She blinked. "Jack?" Jack smiled. "Yes, that's me." He then drew a little stick figure of himself, smiling and holding a flower. Next to it, another figure with long hair, Zari. He showed her the drawing. She leaned closer. "No eat," he said, softly tapping the page. "Just friend." Zari stared at the image for a long time. Her golden eyes were wet, but she didn't cry. She simply sat down across from him and whispered, "Friend?" Jack nodded. "Yes, friend." She hugged the notebook close to her chest. For the first time, she didn't flinch when Jack moved. Later that day, Jack cooked a small alien rabbit he had caught. He offered her a piece. Zari sniffed it carefully, then looked at Jack. "Meat, not Zari?" Jack laughed gently. "No, meat is not Zari." She smiled. Small, unsure, but real. It was the first smile he had seen on her face. That night, they sat by the fire again. Zari spoke in broken phrases, repeating words Jack had taught her. Water, food, sky, safe. Then she touched her chest. "Zari." Jack gave a thumbs up. "You're learning fast." Zari's face grew serious. She looked into the fire and said, "Others, not like Jack. Others, take Zari, hurt Zari, eat others." Jack froze. That sentence didn't need fixing. It was already terrifying. He realized now, Zari had escaped from something horrible. And maybe, just maybe, she still didn't believe she was free. Jack made another promise to himself that night. If anyone ever came for her again, he would stand in their way, not because she needed a protector, but because she deserved to never be hunted again. Zari screamed when Jack touched her shoulder. It was just a soft gesture, meant to comfort her after she accidentally burned her hand near the fire. But the second his fingers brushed her skin, she jumped back like lightning had struck her. Her, eyes wide, body tense, breathing wild, Jack raised both hands. "Sorry, I didn't mean. It's okay. It's okay." Zari stood frozen. Her body trembled like a frightened animal. She stared at his hand like it was a weapon. Jack slowly crouched down, putting space between them. "I was just trying to help," he said softly. "I didn't know." Zari didn't speak. She stared at him, confused. Then, in a whisper. Why? Touch me? Jack paused. The weight of her question hit deep. He looked at her hand, red and blistering from the burn. She had hidden the pain, biting her lip to avoid crying out, and when he reached to help, all she saw was a threat. He picked up a cool piece of alien aloe leaf and gently placed it on a rock between them. For this, he said. Not to hurt, to help. Zari stared at the leaf, then at him. Slowly, she picked it up and pressed it to her burn. She let out a soft breath like a silent thank you. Later that evening, Jack decided to try again. This time, with something different. He grabbed his notebook and drew 2 stick figures. Again, one was Jack, one was Zari. He drew one figure, placing a hand on the other's shoulder, and wrote the word, hug. Zari blinked. Hug? Nodded. When someone is hurt, sad, or scared, a hug means they're not alone. Zari looked down at the drawing, then at her own shoulder. She looked back up at Jack with the smallest voice. Touch. It's not always bad. No? Jack replied. Not when it comes with kindness. She said nothing for a long time. Then slowly, she walked over and sat beside him, just close enough that their arms almost touched. She didn't say another word, but she didn't move away either. The next morning, Jack caught her doing something strange. She stood in the clearing near their shelter, arms stretched out wide, hugging a tree. He watched from behind, trying not to laugh. Her small arms barely reached halfway around the thick trunk, but she kept whispering, hug, hug. Then she turned, spotted Jack, and froze. Jack smiled. Practicing? She looked embarrassed, but then she nodded. Jack walked up to her, crouched slightly, and gently opened his arms. Zari's eyes widened. Her lips parted. For a second, she didn't breathe. Jack stayed still, waiting, not forcing. Then, very slowly, Zari stepped forward. One trembling step, then another, and finally, she stepped into his arms. It was awkward, stiff, and shaky. But it was real. She clutched, his shirt with both hands, face buried into his chest. Jack felt her entire body shaking. Then he realized she wasn't afraid. She was crying. Tears soaked into his shirt as silent sobs escaped her lips. No words, no explanations, just years of pain pouring out in the safety of his arms. Jack held her tighter. You're safe now. No one's going to hurt you here. Zari didn't reply, but her grip on him never loosened. When the sun rose higher, she finally pulled away, wiping her eyes. Hug, she said, voice cracked. Is good, Jack nodded. Yeah, it is. That night, Zari slept beside the fire, closer to him than ever before, and for the first time, she didn't clutch a weapon. She held his old notebook instead. Zari dropped the water jug. It shattered on the rocks, splashing cold water everywhere, but she didn't move. Her eyes were frozen, locked on the sky. Jack turned quickly. Zari? What's wrong? Then he saw it too, a thin silver shape, barely visible, gliding quietly across the clouds. Not a bird, not a star. It was smooth, fast, and mechanical. A drone. Zari backed up, shaking her head violently. No. No. Oh. She grabbed Jack's arm, her fingers digging in. Hunters! The word hit like thunder in Jack's chest. He had thought she was safe here, far from whatever darkness she'd escaped. But now that safety was cracking, a machine was in the sky, watching. Jack pulled her behind a large rock. Don't move, don't make a sound. The drone passed once, then twice, then it was gone. But Zari didn't breathe until long after. She was crouched low, clutching her knees, eyes wild with fear. They found me, she whispered. They track blood, body chip, maybe still inside. Jack's stomach turned. A tracker? In you? She nodded. Slave mark, inside back. I cut, not all. He clenched his jaw. So that was it. She hadn't just escaped. She had been hunted, and now they were close again. Zari whispered, You leave me. They not follow if I go far. I run again. No, Jack said firmly. I'm not leaving. You. I already told you, you're safe with me. Zari looked up, eyes shaking. They kill you too. Jack didn't blink. Let them try. That night, Jack took out his emergency med scanner. He had salvaged it from the wreckage of his ship. It still worked, though barely. He held it near Zari's back. She flinched at the sound. It's okay, he said. I'm trying to find the chip. The screen blinked. A small red dot appeared right near her spine. There it is. Zari looked away. You cut? Jack paused. I'll try, but not here. I need tools. Heat blade, bandage. Zari gritted her teeth. Pain is normal, Jack met her eyes, not with me. The next morning, Jack returned from the forest carrying a sharp branch he had shaped into a spear and a fistful of glowing alien herbs. Zari was already packing, quietly, silently. Where are you going? He asked. She didn't turn. They come soon, I go first, you stay. Jack stepped forward and gently took her hands. Zari, you think you're alone, but you're not anymore. She stared at him, confused. Jack nodded. We're not running, we're going to stop them, together. Zari lowered her head, her voice cracked. You not slave. You don't know. Jack replied with steel in his voice. Maybe not. But I know what it means to protect someone. And I'm not letting them take you again. Zari said nothing, but for the first time she didn't argue. She simply whispered, Then we fight. Later that day, they began building traps, but this time, not for food. Jack's old survival tricks came back to life. Pitfalls, tripwires, sharpened branches, smoke bombs made from alien moss. Zari helped, silent but sharp. Her hands were fast, her eyes always scanning the skies, and before night fell, they stood side by side, two people from different worlds, waiting, because something was coming, something from the stars. But this time, Zari was not alone. Jack woke up to silence. No fire crackling, no movement, no soft breathing nearby. He sat up fast. Zari? No answer. Her shelter was empty. Her blanket was gone. The alien pouch he gave her was missing. Her footprints vanished into the forest. His heart dropped. She had run. He followed her trail without stopping to grab food or water. Each step through the alien woods was sharp and fast, his mind racing. Why now? He whispered. Why after everything? He thought about last night, how she had finally smiled when they set the last trap together, how she laughed softly when he fumbled with a glowing insect, how, just before sleeping, she had whispered the word safe. Was it a lie? No, not from her. Jack pushed deeper into the trees until he saw it, Zari's prints beside a river. Then he saw her. She was sitting on a flat rock near the edge of the glowing blue water, her knees hugged to her chest. She wasn't running away. She was waiting, and in her lap was something strange. As Jack stepped forward, she turned suddenly. Her eyes weren't filled with fear. They were filled with tears. I not leave, she whispered. I bring this for you. She opened her hands. A small, round device, shimmering like polished crystal, sat in her palm. It pulsed faintly, like a heartbeat. Jack crouched beside her. What is it? Zari looked down. Signal stone, very old. I hide it when I escape. Now maybe help. Help who? She looked up at him. You. Jack blinked. Me? Zari nodded slowly. You help me. Now I help you go home. Jack stared at her. He didn't know what to say. She hadn't run because she was scared. She had run to find something valuable, for him. The signal stone, likely a long-range beacon, could be their only chance to call anyone. Maybe help would come, but that wasn't what shook him. What shook him was how far she went just to repay a kindness. Zari stood up and stepped closer to Jack. You, always kind. Not hurt me. Not touch unless gentle. Not lie. She reached out and placed the stone in his hand. Now, Jack, go home. Jack shook his head. I'm not leaving without you. Zari blinked. But not human. Jack smiled. Good. I already know what humans are. I'm still learning what you are. Zari looked away. Her hands trembled. I don't want alone again. You won't be. Jack said softly. Not anymore. They sat by the river until night fell. Jack worked on activating the beacon using pieces from his backpack radio. As the device blinked with weak light, Zari leaned her head on his shoulder. You. Strange human, she murmured. Jack grinned. You're not the first to say that. She chuckled softly. And just like that, the girl who once thought he was going to eat her now sat beside him like they had known each other forever. Not as prey, not as property, but as partners. The night was too quiet. Even the trees weren't moving. Jack stared at the signal stone as it blinked in the grass. Soft, steady, glowing like a heartbeat. It was working. A message was going out. But Zari, she wasn't looking at the signal. She was staring at the sky. Then she whispered, They come. Jack followed her gaze. Above the trees, a dark triangle floated in the sky. No lights, no sound, but moving fast, Jack stood. Ship? Zari's voice cracked. Not rescue. Hunters. Within seconds, the ship released something, small black drones flying low and fast. Zari grabbed Jack's hand. Run! They took off through the trees, boots slamming the mossy ground. Behind them, the drones let out a deep hum that vibrated the leaves. Suddenly, sap! A red beam hit a tree beside them. It exploded in flame. Jack cursed. They're not trying to capture. They're trying to kill you. Zari shouted back. Or scare. They want fear. Jack pulled her behind a rock. We set traps for them, remember? Zari's eyes lit up. Yes, south path. Pit traps. Spikes. Smoke. They moved fast through the darkness. Jack led the hunters toward the southern trail, dodging through branches, jumping over logs. The drones followed, but too low, too fast. Snap! A drone triggered a tripwire. Boom! An explosion of smoke and sparks. Another flew into the spike pit, smashing against the stone. Zari and Jack ran through their own traps, counting every step, every breath. But they couldn't outrun everything. Above them, the ship stopped moving. And from underneath, something worse dropped. A large armored figure, 8 feet tall, glowing red eyes, heavy boots. Zari froze. That's him, she whispered. The one who owned me. Jack stepped in front of her. He's not taking you. The hunter raised, a strange weapon, part blade, part hook. He growled in a deep, twisted voice. Return the property. Zari flinched. Jack's hand tightened into a fist. She's not property, Jack said through clenched teeth. She's free. The hunter didn't respond with words. He lunged. The fight was brutal. Jack barely dodged the first swing, rolling across the dirt. The blade missed him by inches. Zari screamed. Jack swung a sharpened stick, breaking it on the hunter's armor. Nothing. Another swing. Jack fell back, bleeding from his arm. But he didn't stop. He stood up again, teeth clenched. You'll have to kill me first. The hunter laughed darkly. That can be arranged. But before he could strike, Zari moved. She jumped between them, holding a small glowing orb. It was one of Jack's modified signal cells. Set to overload. No, she screamed. Leave him. She slammed it to the ground. Flash, a blinding. Blast lit the forest. The hunter roared, blinded. Jack grabbed Zari and they vanished into the trees. They didn't stop running until the sky turned pale with dawn. When they collapsed beside a tree, both gasping for air, Jack turned to her. "You saved me." Zari didn't speak. She looked away, then slowly said, "You saved me first." They leaned against the tree, exhausted, bleeding, breathing, but alive. Above them, in the early light, the signal beacon blinked stronger now. Someone had heard, but who? And would they come in peace or war? The morning wind blew gently through the alien forest. Jack sat beside Zari, his shirt torn, his arm wrapped in leaves and cloth. His body ached. His lungs still burned, but he didn't care, because Zari was alive, and so was he. The signal beacon blinked stronger now, louder. It was pulsing every 3 seconds. A full distress call. Somebody was close. Zari leaned her head on his shoulder. "We'll come again," she whispered. Jack nodded. "Let him, we'll be ready." Zari looked at him, her golden eyes full of something he hadn't seen before. Not fear, not pain. Hope. The ship returned before noon, but it wasn't the hunters. It was sleek. Silver. Marked with a different symbol. Jack stood tall, Zari behind. Him, both tense as the ship landed in the clearing with a low, soft hum. The doors opened, and a group of strange-looking beings stepped out. Peaceful, their eyes wide, not with anger, but sorrow. One stepped forward and spoke in Zari's language. She froze, then whispered something back. The alien nodded slowly. Jack waited. Zari turned to him. "They are not slavers. They're from the resistance. They heard the signal." Jack let out a breath. "So we're safe?" Zari nodded. "Yes." Finally. But as the aliens offered Zari a place aboard their ship, a new home, safety, healing, she didn't move. She looked at Jack, then at the forest, then back to him. "They say, I can go with them," she said quietly. "No more running." Jack forced a smile. "You should. You deserve peace." She stepped closer. "But peace is not where I sleep. It's who I sleep beside." Jack blinked. "I was once prey," she said softly. "I was afraid of your hands, your teeth, your kindness. I didn't understand it." She reached out, touching his chest. "But now, I choose. And I choose you." The leader of the resistance approached. She is free now. What she does next is hers to decide. Jack looked at Zari. Her face was calm, confident. Not the girl from the trap. Not the girl who hid from touch. Not the girl who cried while hugging a tree. She was something stronger now. And she had chosen. Weeks later, in a new shelter built together, Jack and Zari stood side by side, watching the sunrise. He handed her a mug of warm alien tea. She took it and smiled. "Still think I was going to eat you?" he teased. Zari smirked. "You did, but not like I thought." Jack laughed. They leaned against each other, sharing silence, peace, and something unspoken but powerful. From predator and prey to partners. From fear to family. And across the galaxy, the story of the girl in the trap and the strange human who saved her was whispered again and again. A tale not of survival, but of love.